It's not working. Close your eyes, get out of your skin.
Hello from me and our baby. Okay, I knew I was gonna cry. So we have our, not even tissues, but just a toilet paper roll. Some of you have been here since before I ever met Beau. And regardless of how long you have been here, it is like the biggest joy of my life to be able to share my life with you and to get to share the news of this new little life that is growing and is almost halfway done, which I'm just so in awe of God. And just to be sitting here and getting to share this news with you today is just not lost on me of how much of just a miracle life is. And I'm so just in awe, and I'm so humbled, and I am so honored to be carrying this life, and getting to watch this little baby grow has been the joy of our life, truly the joy of our life. Most of you know, after I miscarried 3 years ago, I want to share a little bit of the story of this baby and their life, and it's such a miracle to me in every single detail, because this baby, which I just see God in every single detail so clearly, and I'm just gonna probably cry my way through this video, but this baby was brought into our life the very day that our first baby was due, and just that alone is such a miracle. And such a, I could have never planned that if I tried. And I just see the beauty of God. I see the beauty of God in this baby's story, in this baby's life already. And I see what a beautiful story he is already writing. And it has put me in such a deep, deep awe of God when he says that I fearfully and wonderfully made you, that he knows our life, all the days of our life before we were even born. And God actually gave me this baby's name a month after I miscarried, almost 3 years ago now. And I remember it was such a comfort to me in that moment, because it was Christmas time, and I was just grieving the loss of our baby. And, you know, I just felt it was just really in the thick of my grief being Christmas. And I just remember feeling so comforted because I have so many friends in my life that have like running baby list names and like name ideas, which is so cute. And I love that, but I've just never had a list. It's always been hard. Every time I would think of a name over the years, I'm like, I don't know. And so God really putting this name really in my heart and showing me this baby's name a month after I miscarried, it truly was something that brought so much hope and comfort to my heart. And obviously I knew that I even was going to go back to school, and that I wasn't going to try to get pregnant again for quite a while after. And I knew that this was the path that I wanted to go down, because, you know, after having 5 different doctors tell me that I would never be able to get pregnant, that I had the lowest progesterone that they've ever seen, you know, I just knew that that was the moment for me in my deepest grief and sorrow, that I wanted to be able to not only understand my body and what's going on hormonally, but be able to help other women so that their story can be different. And to see that he gave me this baby's name all those years ago, then fast forward to last October, there was just God, I read this quote recently that says, well, I'll paraphrase it, that basically says when we talk to God, it's called prayer, but then when he talks to us, we think it's like crazy, And it really is the most amazing, precious thing in my life to have. It is my relationship with God and being able to walk with him and hear him in this season in ways that I really never have ever before has so deepened my faith and my love for him and just my awe and trust and just the beauty and the wonder of God, and how that is the greatest joy of my life is my walk with him, and how I have seen how he has just showed me about this baby for all these years. And last year, it was last October, God just really spoke to me about this baby. And I remember just praying and saying, God, I really believe that you spoke this to me, that you gave me this promise. And I just want to know that it is from you. And I remember I walked outside getting my morning sunlight, and the biggest, brightest sky with a rainbow over our house. It almost knocked me off my feet. It was so beautiful. I ran back into the house to get my phone to take a picture, and even by the time I came back outside, it had slightly dimmed, and just in how intense the light was and how beautiful the sky really was. And I will never ever forget that day. And it was like a whisper, but a shout from the heavens of this promise that God had given to me. And I held on to it. I held on to it for, this whole time. And then this summer, I was just talking to God as I usually do in the morning, and he really just showed me that it was time. It was time this summer. And so 5 days before I was gonna miss my period, I took a test, and I just knew. And it was the faintest line. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see it, but it was so faint, but it was there. And I'll never forget telling Bo, he was like, we're gonna call this baby Laughter, because he just started laughing. And that was just a really sweet moment, even for us, because it was as if it clicked for him too. He was like, this was the promise. And I had told him a few days before about that just conversation with God that I was having, and how and I wrote it down. I wrote down this, what God had spoken to me, and I just will never forget it. And Bo just said that's it. It makes sense. And he was just at total peace. And especially, after loss is just, there can be a lot, room for fear. And something that I prayed even right after I miscarried our first baby was that I didn't want to be full of fear, and I didn't want to be constantly in fear. And God has really truly kept me in his love and in his peace. But I'm just so thankful for the joy of this pregnancy and this baby, and getting to see our baby for the first time. Obviously, that was such a huge moment of going in and hearing the baby's heartbeat, which is something that we never got to do with our first baby. And hearing our baby's heartbeat it felt like such a dream and so incredible. And I'm just so amazed at this little life. Okay, we officially had our first ultrasound today. It's so surreal. It is so surreal. I keep staring at our baby and I'm like, that is so crazy. Like, how is that our baby? Very sweet season. A beautiful, perfect, sunny August day. And I just can't stop looking at our fridge and seeing our little baby promise. I'm so thankful. The first trimester, honestly, I was feeling really good. And then I got definitely hit with some nausea in the morning, but I will say it was so manageable with protein. I just would have to get up in the morning, run into the kitchen, and then literally like make myself like shove protein down immediately, and that helped so much. It was so manageable, and the first trimester was such a wild ride, and getting to, I drew my own labs, my own numbers, and watched my progesterone, which, as you know, my progesterone has just been so historically low, which is why I went back to school in the first place to figure out my hormones. Seeing my progesterone for the first time when I found out that I was pregnant, I went in that day. I literally went in the day that I found out I was pregnant and measured my progesterone, and seeing it be, I believe it was at a 20. I will just never forget that moment. Good morning and welcome to the first vlog of my pregnancy. I am almost 5 weeks tomorrow. Technically, based on the medical professional, I am further along than 5 weeks, but I track my cycle and I know ovulation and conception date, so I'm almost 5 weeks tomorrow. I'm going in for my progesterone draw. I'm going to be monitoring my progesterone through the first trimester until the placenta takes over production of progesterone. My numbers have come back so strong. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. We are in the optimal range of progesterone, and I just cannot believe that. We're like in textbook like ranges. So I am elated. I'm not currently on progesterone, but I'm gonna monitor it just to monitor it and make sure everything stays strong through the first trimester before the placenta takes over. So let's go get our blood done. Good morning. How are you? Thank you. Have a good day. We're all done. That was so quick. It is so incredibly easy. So time to go to Trader Joe's. We got our blood done, progesterone and HCG, and let's have a fabulous rest of our day. That was so easy. I love the girls. They're always so nice. She is so sweet, and she's always like, see you next time. Like, see you next week. See you in a few days. So very sweet, very sweet. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to our pregnancy diaries. I am 6 weeks, 4 days today, and I just went in for my progesterone draw. My last number came back so beautiful. So just now have moved to once a week basically to check on it. In the beginning, I checked progesterone every 3 to 5 days just with my history of low progesterone, but my numbers have looked so good. They've stayed from the very beginning. I think my first draw was almost 22, and I was at 11 days post-ovulation, and 20 is a beautiful number. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little update. Symptoms wise, I actually feel I feel a little bit nauseous right now, but it's not extreme. I've been feeling really good. I felt very tired, like the kind of tired that like you feel sedated almost. Probably right around, I found out pretty early, so I was like 3 weeks, 3 days or something like that, or 3 weeks, 4 days. I can't remember. I was like before 4 weeks. I feel like it's been like a week since it's been over 3 weeks since I found out. So my brain, even that, like my train of thought, sometimes like I'm like, wait, what was I saying? Really, I only am nauseous when I don't eat food. Okay, I have like such a tickle in my throat. We're gonna have to go home, and I'll catch up with you later. I do remember right after I found out about, I think I was about just before 6 weeks, I had the faintest amount of spotting, and it was literally just for one day. But having that experience with a previous loss just immediately it was just, I just mentally needed to just pray and just know that whatever happens, that this baby's life is, I'm not in control, and definitely opportunities for just, there's always opportunity for, to fear, but I had prayed so much for so long, for all these years, that I wanted this the next pregnancy, no matter what, to not be full of fear and to get to not let fear rob me of the joy of this baby. And I'm just so thankful for how God just heard me and really answered me and really kept me in his love to be where we are now, and to feel feel the little movements and to feel the little butterflies is such a miracle, and it's so amazing. I will say though, getting to tell our friends and family was so amazing, but I will say getting to tell you and share this news with you is something that I just truly cherish this moment so deeply, because I know that so many of you have shared your story with me and have been praying for me, and just the love that I have for you is so immense and so deep. And I wish I could just hug every single one of you and thank you for praying and for loving me and our family and our first baby and this baby. I truly love you so much, and I'm so overjoyed to get to share this news with you, and I'm so excited for this next season and chapter of life, which is just so fun, and getting to build my little non-toxic, low toxic baby registry has been so fun for me, and I'm just finding so much joy in this season, and eating my protein and working out and just being able to still weight train and move my body. And I'm gonna just do my very best to continue to do that so that I feel my best. And you have been really watching even my, my nutrition and my weight, like my just movement and everything like that the past few months. Here we are, we're almost in November. It's going by so fast. So our little spring baby, I know, will be here sooner than we can imagine. And I know it's gonna go by so quick, and I know I'm so excited to meet this baby, but I'm also just soaking up the joy of being pregnant, and I have truly been loving it. And it's just, it's so surreal. It's just so absolutely surreal. We found out the gender. I will be sharing the gender with you soon. I just need to edit that video. I was like one thing at a time. So we'll be sharing that soon. We were actually going to truly wait until birth to find out, but because of this baby's story and how God really spoke to us about this baby, we decided that we did want to find out the gender, and because of that reason, and it is just the craziest story ever. Finding out the gender was truly it's gonna make me cry. It just was such a God thing all over again, and it's just so amazing, so beyond amazing, like beyond words. I can't even. That is the joy of walking with God, is the beauty and the awe and the mystery of God, that he would even walk with us, and that he would just think of what David wrote, who is man that you are mindful of him? And when I look at the stars and when I consider the heavens, who is man that you are mindful of him? And that is how I feel. I'm so amazed at the detail and the love and the care that God has poured into our life and this baby's life. And we love our baby so much, and we just are so excited that we get to have an upfront view of their story and their life and the purposes that God is going to have for them. I wanted to share a passage that has really been so anchoring for me in this season, that I have set the Lord always before me. I will not be moved, in Psalm 16 verse 8. Oh, how I knew I was pregnant. This is what I wanted to share with you. So as you know, I am not wearing it right now, but I have worn a continuous glucose monitor for quite some time this year, because blood sugar regulation is so important for hormones. And I remember we were down in Santa Barbara and we were taking photos for what has been quite delayed, the new program that's coming, because we were taking photos for it and I didn't know that I was pregnant yet, which is so funny because I was pregnant in all of those photos, which is actually so sweet to look back on. But we were down in Santa Barbara for a photo shoot. I remember we were walking around so much that day, and in our hotel that night, in the middle of the night or just super early in the morning, I woke up with the worst leg cramp ever, like the most intense Charlie horse. And that was, and this will circle back to the glucose monitor as well. But I remember immediately thinking like, okay, that was like genuinely my first instinct to, I think I'm pregnant, because I have not had, and I don't know why my brain like immediately connected that. It was just such a strange thing that happened and such a random symptom. And I don't think I've had a leg cramp for probably since I was like, I don't know. I remember having one like back in 2013, so randomly, but they're just, it's so painful and so intense that I just remember thinking this is so odd and so weird. And I knew we'd been walking around a lot that day and really go. And I hadn't drank a ton of water. So I kind of thought like, okay, but even still, it was just so odd to me. And that was kind of my first inclination that something was going on. And then I remember we got back from that trip and I remember eating all of a sudden, like just a normal meal that I was eating tacos. And I just remember eating like, and my ratios for protein and carbs were good. But I remember getting the most intense glucose spike all of a sudden, like after I ate that meal. It was on a Sunday. I remember everything about it. And I was like, okay, what is going on right now? Because, and then it wouldn't come back down. My glucose did not come back down. My glucose didn't regulate. It was all over the place. It was so much higher than usual. And that was the moment that I was like, what is going on? Like there is physiologically something happening in my body. And I think it was the next day that my Oura ring said, it was like minor signs, like something is straining your body. But the glucose monitor was really the thing that ticked me. Like it was really the click in my head that I was like, that was the moment I remember sitting at lunch thinking, I think I'm pregnant, because the glucose just, it did not make any sense to me. It was so different. I am so in tune with my body and specifically my glucose and how my blood sugar does after meals, that it was so out of nature for me that I knew something was up. And then learning that in super early pregnancy, like during implantation, that your body goes essentially slightly, anyway, without going into all that physiology, it is very fascinating though, because it wants to keep glucose in the blood as a constant supply for this new little life and for implantation, which was fascinating to me. And then my glucose did eventually normalize, but it took about, honestly, I want to say like a month or so, but that was totally fascinating to me. And I'm like, that would be the way that I, Cambria, figure out that I'm pregnant, is like a random muscle cramp, because I'm like, I know that babies, you know, they're using up so many minerals, and then my glucose going crazy. And so it was just so funny to me that was like the first thing that I kind of was like, okay, something's off. And then when I took the test, especially after that morning that I had with God, and I wrote down what he really spoke to my heart, and then getting to see that promise literally was fulfilled 5 days later, and taking the pregnancy test and seeing that faint little line, I just will never forget it. And so surreal. I didn't film that particular moment because I don't know, I woke up and I just knew, and I had it was just kind of this moment with me and God. It was so intimate, and part of me like sort of wishes that I did film it, but at the same time, it was really just special. But I remember I had saved one early pregnancy test from Burden B, and I was about 5 days early, I believe, as I said. And I remember like rummaging through my bedside drawer, and I had one of those tests left, and I had kept it all these years. And it had been in there for such a long time. And I always wondered in my heart if that would be the test that I ended up taking and finding out that I was pregnant. And it was in fact that test. And just to see like the changes physiologically that happen when you're pregnant is so miraculous and amazing at what your body does and how God created your body to really just give its all and all this energy into this new little life, it is fascinating, is phenomenal. It is incredible to me. And so that is how I found out. It's so fun to share it all with you, and thank you for being there through just the valleys and through it all. It is truly a joy to get to share in all of it with you, and to be comforted by you, and to be rejoicing with you. And through it all, I'm just so thankful for the friendship that we have here, that God has really given us, and I'm so thankful for it. So I love you so much, and we will see you in my next video. Bye.
Here we go.
Do you know?